Hey, it's TimesGarg11 with episode 2 of Triangle Strategy Unit Buffs. If you haven't seen episode 1, I'll quickly go over what this series is about. So I'm taking a look at the more niche or redundant characters and theorizing ways that their skills could be given out to other characters to make them a bit more unique and have more options available, as well as fixing some of the more disappointing things about the skill charts, the weapon skill charts, and the fact that they lack actual skills and are mostly just stat upgrades. So in this episode, we're going to be taking a look at Hossabara's kit and giving her skills out to Roland and Jens. I'm also going to be giving out some of her skills to other characters in a later episode, as well as Julio's, the one that I skipped over in episode 1. That's because I'm going to try to keep this to just 3 characters per episode, so saving the stuff that I skipped over for them for other characters in later episodes. So first thing is with Roland. As I mentioned in episode 1, there needs to be more on the weapon upgrade charts that are actually passive skills. So one thing for Roland that could go to his skill chart is Opportune Attack. That could be a weapon chart upgrade instead of a class unlock. Now to look at Hossabara's kit. Knight's Bane. Nothing to see there, it's just the fact that she's cavalry. There is a few characters that I'm going to be, at least 2, that I'm going to be suggesting to be made into cavalry units in place of Hossabara, because there's also a distinct lack of cavalry units. So removing Hossabara and making 2 others cavalry units at a later point. But first, going over Hossabara's kit then, she's kind of a jack-of-all-trades unit. She's not particularly good at anything, but she has a little bit of healing available. She has some offensive potential and decent defenses with Desperate Defense. So we're going to be giving her Jack-of-all-trades archetype, the Jack-of-all-trades aspects of her kit, over to Roland. First of those is Be Brave. This isn't particularly good healing, but it's still pretty useful. It's a situational AoE heal, and Roland could make use of it when he's not doing anything else, when he's not being offensive. You could use this. Cleave, this is really, really underwhelming. Let's just skip over this. No one needs this. Trekking for TP, this is going to go to Roland onto his skill chart alongside Desperate Defense as an ore skill. These 2 together, you select one to customize them a bit depending on the map. For more defensive maps where you're going to be turtling, you use Desperate Defense so that he can survive better. That'll be especially useful for maps where he's a lost condition if he goes down, so it would be really useful if he had this. Or you could use Trekking for TP in maps where you need more offense. Going to have him extending farther. You can just go and do more damage that way, having more TP for his stronger skills. Up and Up. This one is going to be saved for another character in a later episode. And then Catapult. This is a really interesting skill and probably the best thing that Hossabara has. And this should go to Jens. It makes a lot of sense if Jens just builds catapults instead of Hossabara throwing someone. Jens could actually build a catapult and launch someone for the exact same skill. I mean, the actual reasoning behind it doesn't matter. We're just giving the skill to Jens. So Jens is very centralized, mainly around Springtrap and Ladder. Ladder being less useful, but Springtrap is the main thing you're using him for. So he's pretty much always putting down Springtraps. You could use a bit more variety in what he has available to him. So throwing Catapult on there would be pretty good. Gives him something else to do, gives him more utility. And ensnaring the enemy could go to his skill chart, so that you could potentially unlock it earlier, because that is a really, really important skill for him. So I feel like it should unlock a little bit earlier for him by putting it onto his skill chart. So that is it for these 3. Mainly making Roland into a bit more customizable between offense and defense, as well as making him generally more jack of all trades by giving him some healing. and that increased either defensive or offensive potential. And yeah, so that's it for these three, and again, saving Up and Up and the Cavalry / Knight's Bane for other characters in later episodes. So if you watch to the end, then comment Blossom Dance down below, and see you next time!